Yes, people, how's it going? Welcome back to Lily White Lane. Hope you're doing good, hope you're keeping safe and well, and hope that you're having a really good Friday and start to your weekend, wherever you are in the world, and whatever you are planning to get up to today, and over the rest of the weekend as a whole. And you are all very welcome along to your Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea match preview. I'm going to be giving you guys my predicted lineup, giving you my prediction and thoughts and opinions heading into this game, and it is a massive game. It's Derby Day. Chelsea arrive at the Lane to take on Ange'S Postecoglou's Tottenham, with Mauricio Pochettino returning to Tottenham, but as Chelsea manager. It's going to be very, very interesting and intriguing to see the reception that he gets. Will he get booed out of the building by the Spurs faithful, or will he be applauded for everything that he did for this football club? It's going to be intriguing to see the reception that Spurs fans give him. Guys, if you're going to the game, will you boo him? Will you applaud him? Will you be in the middle, boo and applaud him, as I say? I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Even if you're not going to the game, as I say, if you were going to the game, how would you treat Mauricio Pochettino on his return to Tottenham Hotspur, as I say? Because that's the big talking point heading into this game. Mauricio Pochettino's return to Tottenham Hotspur. How do Spurs fans treat him? And for me, it'd be one of those where I'd applaud him before the game. I would. I understand that he's Chelsea manager. I understand there is a big rivalry between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea. But it's not Arsenal. It's not the scum of all scum. And I think you still have to appreciate, as a Spurs fan, what he did for this football club. He transformed us, as I say, from a mid-table team to a team that were contending for titles. And yes, we didn't win anything. And for me, I've said in previous videos, all it takes is one Ange'S Postecoglou trophy to surpass him. But he turned us into a team that us fans could get excited about. He gave me, as a Spurs fan, some of the best years I've had supporting this football club. Some of the great victories we had. That team, as I say, which was just unreal in that 16-17 season when we went unbeaten at home. The guy, as I say, transformed the football club. He rebuilt our football club and turned us from mid-table, as I say, contenders or 7th or 6th place contenders to Champions League finalists and title contenders. So personally, I would applaud the guy before the game, but during the game, as I say, not necessarily give him dog's abuse, but I'm not going to be applauding him during the game. Once that first whistle goes, as I say, until that final whistle, he's Chelsea manager. He's the enemy for that 90 minutes, as I say. That's what I'd do if I were going to the game on Monday, as I say. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. How would you treat Mauricio Pochettino, as I say, if you were going to the game or are going to the game on Monday? There was a great video uploaded on the channel yesterday by Big K, Little K and Bobby K, the three Spurs boys, where they gave their thoughts and opinions on whether Spurs fans should and will applaud Mauricio Pochettino or boo him. But those are my thoughts and opinions, as I say. I'd applaud him before the game for everything he did for our football club, but during the whole 90 minutes, he's the enemy. He's Chelsea manager, and some of the things I've seen of him recently, such as sharing a hotel with Mikel Arteta, our respect has gone down for him a little bit. It went down hugely when he joined Chelsea, as I say. But one of the main things that you look back on now and actually consider, similarly to the Vicario and Raya debate, where Spurs fans were really frustrated that we didn't get Raya. I don't think we changed Raya now, right now for Vicario. Vicario's been absolutely fantastic, and it's similar with the Pochettino situation. A lot of Spurs fans, including me, were frustrated that we didn't get Mauricio Pochettino. I know they say you shouldn't go back in football, but I personally thought that was the right move, and a lot of Spurs fans thought that was the right move. But what I did do, which a lot of Spurs fans didn't do, is welcome Ange with open arms and say this guy is going to do a fantastic job at our football club, when there were a lot of doubters when Ange Postecoglou first came to the club. Right now, would any Spurs fan really change Ange Postecoglou for Mauricio Pochettino? He came in the summer when we finished 8th last season, had some horrific results. Director of football had a worldwide ban, and our club captain and one of our greatest ever players left 2 days before the season. And we're sat top of the league 11 games in the 11th game week of the season. I wouldn't change Ange for Pochettino right now, and I'm not sure many Spurs fans would, despite the connection and the great times that we had with Mauricio Pochettino. So you look back on things like that and say it's probably a good thing that we didn't get Mauricio Pochettino. Maybe we'd still be top under Pochettino, but I don't think he would have rebuilt this club, or we would have gone as far as we already have under him at the beginning of the rebuild. I think we'd be having a very similar season to what Chelsea are having if we had brought in Mauricio Pochettino in the summer. Let's take a look at our opposition on Monday, Chelsea, as I say. They're currently sat 11th in the table, as I say, when it comes to their form in their last 5. They lost their last game 2-0 at home to Brentford. That was a shocker. The game before that, they put in a brilliant performance, which I spoke about in my first Unbiased Premier League show against Arsenal, and were unlucky not to win that game and should have took their chances, which we'll get onto in a second, because I think that's one of their biggest issues this season. The game before that, they beat Burnley 4-1 away from home. The game before that, they beat Fulham 2-0 away from home, which is a derby. Fulham were up for that, and that's a good win. And the game before that, they lost 1-0 at Villa. Really shaky start to the season. Started to gain a little bit of form. I thought maybe they, got rid of some of the issues at that football club, but those issues were still there in that Brentford game, as I say. And one of Chelsea's biggest issues, I just alluded to it there, is not finishing their chances, not taking their opportunities. I thought the Brentford game was very, very similar to that Nottingham Forest game, where first half they were all over Forest, they were all over Brentford, dominating possession, chance after chance. Some of those chances they've got to score, they don't take their chances. The team's confidence goes down because they don't take their chances, and the opposition capitalise in the second half. It happened against Aston Villa as well. Didn't take their chances in the first half. Villa capitalised in the second half. But, Villa's one of those games where you probably should be beating them at home, but it's more respectable to lose to them than it is a team such as Nottingham Forest at home or a team such as Brentford at home. That's no disrespect to those two teams, but those are the type of home fixtures that you need to be winning if you're going to get any form of Europe, let alone Champions League football. And as I say, it's not been a good start to the season for Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea. They've looked good at times. I thought the wheels were finally starting to turn, but then you have that Brentford fixture and result, which changes everything in my head. It really does. I think Bowley's running that club like a circus. He thinks he's playing Football Manager. I think they've brought in some exciting young players, but the issue is putting those players into the team. And a lot of Chelsea fans have said about injuries and the fact they've got injuries right now. When those injured players come back, you're going to have the same issue you did last season with big egos and top players being left out because you've got too big of a squad. That's the issue. When you look at Tottenham Hotspurs squad, maybe we need a bit more depth, but we know the team that we're starting with week in, week out. Whether that's a good thing or not, because you can look at Manchester City and say they don't know yet they win the league every season. We've got a group of players who start and a few subs who come on every game. Chelsea, when they get those players returning from injury, as I say, they'll have a whole roster of players to pick through, and it's going to be so hard not to upset any of them, as I say. So I think there's a lot of problems at that club. I think the problem of, as I say, having too many players has been added to again in the summer. I do think they've got some exciting young players who are going to come through, but that's going to take time. And yeah, there's a lot of issues to sort out at that football club. Do I think Pochettino should be sacked? Not at all. I think that'd be a stupid move. I don't see the point in it. You've got to let the man try and rebuild your club. But is he doing a good enough job right now? Is he doing a good enough job right now? I don't know why I went all bloody Ray Winston there, but is he doing a good enough job right now at Chelsea? I don't think so. Is he the main issue at that football club? No, I don't think so. But could he do more with what he's got at his disposal? Yes, I do believe so. I don't understand why he didn't play Gusto in the game against Brentford, for example, and the substitutions against Arsenal went on to cost him the game. So I do think Pochettino is at fault for the issues at Chelsea. I do think the ownership and Todd Bowley is at fault for the issues at Chelsea. I do think the players, as I say, need to take some of the chances because the way that they're playing is good. I've been impressed with their style of play this season, but they've just not finished their chances, and it's the same issues under Graham Potter that they had last season. Under Lampard, you had those issues, but they were just crap all round. They were just absolutely horrendous. But under Potter, they were playing some good football, but they just couldn't take their chances, and they lost so many games because of it and didn't pick up many points because of it. And you're seeing the same issues this season. Maybe when Pochettino has a few more windows, those issues can be sorted out. But then, you're looking at those windows, you're adding more and more players, and then you've got more upset egos in the dressing room. I just think there's a lot of issues at Chelsea. I think Bowley, as I say, he's not running that club well. He thinks it's Football Manager. And yeah, they've got some exciting young players. I think they'll get Europe this season. I think they'll finish 7th. But as I say, not a great start. And then you look at someone like Ange, who came in to just as tough an environment and just as messy of a football club in the summer with far less of a budget, who's got his team top of the Premier League table within 11 games. We're in the 11th game week. He's got his team top of the table in the 11th game week, and we're looking close to nailed on for top 4 or something like that. So look, a lot of issues at Chelsea, as I say. Their last 5, their form isn't brilliant. In terms of Tottenham's last 5, a win against Palace, a very tough win to get. It's a tough place to go, so fair play to us for getting that. Game before that, we got 2-0 win at home against Fulham. The game before that, we beat Luton away from home. The game before that, we beat Liverpool 2-1 at home with a controversial VAR takes. And the game before that, we drew 2-2 away from home with the Scum. So Spurs come into this game on much better form. As I say, Chelsea, there's a lot of issues there. When you look at the last 5 between Spurs and Chelsea, the last game, Spurs 2, Chelsea 0. Both teams were crap last season, but they were even worse than us, to be 100% honest. And that game was just so boring to watch. 2 crap teams going at it. As I say, it was just an absolute shit show. At least we know on Monday we're going to get some excitement because Pochettino Spurs, at least they're playing better football than Potter. So obviously Potter couldn't take the chance, but even the football weren't brilliant. At least Pochettino's football is good. So we're going to get a more exciting game on Monday. But that 2-0 win, I was happy about it, but not as happy as I should have been, considering we beat Chelsea because of the way that both teams played. The game before that, 2-2, iconic fixture. I think we'll be talking about that. Antonio Conte, Tuchel bust up for years and years. That was absolutely brilliant. Battle of the Bridge Part 2, a lot of people called it at the time. Crazy game, actually one of the most enjoyable games last season. We didn't even perform well in that, but because of the moments and what happened, it was really, really intriguing. Game before that against Chelsea, they beat us 2-0, standard win at Stamford Bridge, as I say. Sort of broke that Stamford Bridge curse last season because before that, they've beaten us every season for so many seasons, as I say, and they are a big, big bogey team for us. Even under Pochettino, as I say, when we were so much better than them at times, when they weren't winning the league under, Conte, but when they were 5th and 6th under, I forget his name now. Why am I forgetting his name? Sorry, that's it. When they were 5th and 6th under Sorry, they were still getting the better of us. But look, last season, 4 points against Chelsea, and I just think we're better than them this season. We'll get onto my score prediction the way I think the game's going to unfold in a bit. Game before that, Spurs 0, Chelsea 3. Horrendous performance under Nuno. The first of a few poor performances. We had the Palace one before that, then we had this one, then the derby, the Man United game a little bit later. That was a very dark time to be a Spurs fan. I'll blame Enoch and Levy for not backing Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho, but Nuno just weren't good enough, and that was a pathetic performance in a derby. In the game before that, forgot this fixture even took place. Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. Penalty, as I say, to get Chelsea to win there under Jose Mourinho. Barely remember it. We're not considering the Carabao Cup ones as well, the season when they beat us, as I say, 4 times. That was just, we were so close to finishing above them that season as well, but they just finished above us. But look, it looks like the curse against Chelsea is changing after the big win last season. Ollie Skip's absolute banger. In terms of the predicted lineup, which we're going to get onto now, I think you play... This would be my lineup. I'll go Vicario in goal. I think he's nailed on. I think the back four's nailed on if all are fully fit. I think Udogie, phenomenal, and hopefully he is. If Udogie isn't, then Ben Davies, as I say. I think centre-back partnership, Mickey van den Ven and Romero, I think that's nailed on when both are fully fit. Same with Pedro Porro now. He's shown that he's a better right-back than Royale. Midfield 3, this is where it gets interesting, as I say. If Bentancur is fully fit, I would love to see him play. And if he is, as I say, I'll put him in this predicted lineup. But will he be fully fit? Only Ange'S Postecoglou knows if he's ready to start a game like this one. We've had 10 days between it, so as I say, maybe he'll get more of a cameo off the bench depending on the scoreline. Maybe he'll start, as I say. If Bentancur is fully fit, I predict that he will start, but I don't think he will be. So, as I say, it's hard to judge this situation because I don't know, and you guys don't know the ins and outs of whether Bentancur is fit or not. So, I think Bentancur, as I say, if he's fit, goes in there with James Maddison and Bissouma, which is the best midfield we can field. And if not, Papi Matar, Bissouma and James Maddison. Where it gets interesting here, up top, I think Sonny's in. Right wing, I think Kulusevski's in. Left wing, I think Brennan Johnson has to start. A season and 10 games I've seen of Richarlison, and a season and 10 games enough for me to see that the guy is absolute pygmy hippo shit. I don't like him. I don't care what he did at Everton. I really do not care. If he's not doing it in a Spurs shirt, he's had enough chances and time to prove it to me. I want him out of the club. And should he be starting this game? Hell no. Has he contributed in a couple of games this season? Yes. But it goes to show the level of the guy when we're complimenting complimenting him for playing well in 2 or 3 games when he should be playing well, or at least getting a 6 or 7 out of 10 in every game this season when you consider the way the rest of the team's playing. Brennan Johnson, as I say, started against Arsenal, looked really, really dangerous, was really unlucky not to score 2 brilliant saves from Raya. And then we bring him on against Crystal Palace, when Crystal Palace are getting in the game a little bit. And I thought, as I say, we took a 1-0 lead before he came on. But when he came on, we started playing our football. It was a brilliant goal that he linked up to score. As I say, got an assist. Come off the bench, got an assist, get Spurs a win. That's more than Richarlison. Or he did it against Sheffield, Richarlison. But apart from that, he hasn't really done much. Even more the reason to have Richarlison on the bench and maybe make him come on as a super sub. So for me, Johnson on the left wing. And that is my predicted lineup. Score prediction. I think we'll have too much for Chelsea. I really do. I said it at the beginning of the video. I think we're progressing much quicker than they are. Both at the start of our rebuild, I think we've got better players than they have. We'll see, when I release the combined 11 on the channel, my thoughts on that. But I do think we will concede, because I think we're playing a high line of very high press football. And yes, they haven't, or they've struggled to score recently, but and put away a lot of the chances that they should have. But I do think with our high line, as I say, we may get a little bit exposed by players such as Raheem Sterling, who's pacey. And yeah, I do think Chelsea will score 1. Maybe Vicky van der Ven can deal with him, but I think they'll score 1. And I think Tottenham score 3. I think we'll have far too much for them. I think our players will be up for it. I'm going to go Sonny to score 2. The guy's on absolute fire this season, absolutely flying. I'm going to go for a goal from Dejan Kulusevski. As I say, I can feel that Dejan's going to score. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. Pretty comfortable, as I say, home win. I think Chelsea will score, but I don't think it'll be when the game's, when the game's still on the edge and it's a tight game. I think Spurs will probably be... I think Spurs take a 2-0 lead, as I say. I think first 20 minutes we start off quite slowly, as we have done all season. I think we take a lead around the 30th minute. I think we make it 2-0 at the beginning of the second half. Maybe Chelsea's pull one back in the 60th minute, 70th minute, something like that. And then I think Spurs score a late goal, as I say, to make sure of a win in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm going Spurs to pick up another win, 3-1 win at home to Chelsea, and for Tottenham Hotspur to stay 2 points clear at least at the top of the Premier League table. Guys, you've been awesome. Make sure, if you haven't already, to smash that subscribe button, hit that like button as hard as you possibly can, and tap the notification bell. Hitting all those buttons hugely helps us out in the algorithm, as I say. Take care of yourselves, all the best, and as always, come on you Spurs. Enoch and leave you out. In Big Ange, we trust.